Greetings everyone, welcome to the channel, welcome to our Diablo 4 leveling guide. Now this leveling guide is going to be applicable from level 0 to level 50, and it is going to require you to have beaten the campaign. So if you haven't beaten the campaign, go ahead and beat that campaign and then come back and watch this video. So as you guys can see here, we have pretty much every single character almost to level 50. The only one we need is the Sorceress and the Druid, which we're working on now. But yeah, without any further ado, let's go ahead and get right into the tips and tricks to help you guys level up, maximize your time spent in Diablo 4, and get you to the end game as quickly as possible. Because we all know that end game is where you guys are gonna have the most fun. So we recommend checking out this dungeon right here, Dead Man's Dredge. But just know it doesn't have to be this particular dungeon. When we get in here, we'll kind of show you what you want to be on the lookout for when you're picking out the dungeon that suits your needs, because every class is going to have a particular way they like to level, and some people like bigger dungeons, some people like smaller dungeons. But as you guys can see here, I like this dungeon in particular because of the compact corridors and the mobs that spawn in this dungeon. So in this dungeon, you're going to find a lot of werewolves and a lot of revenants, a lot of vampires, stuff like that. And all of these guys, these trash mobs right here, are just so easy to wipe through. You can honestly just run right past them. Wait till you get a big group of them and just take them all out at the same time. That's what I like to do. I'll just train a bunch of them up here. And another thing that you want to be on the lookout for is dungeons that have these animus carriers, because these animus carriers count as elite kills. So when you fight one of these animus guys, you're gonna get a lot of XP, and a lot of those guys will sometimes spawn in with minions. Sometimes they'll have just different elite affixes. But yeah, every time you kill one of those guys, you get a massive boost of XP. And just right at the beginning, the first phase of this dungeon has I think 4 or 5 of these elite carriers. So that's 4 or 5 elites that you should get right off the bat. And it has a second stage to this dungeon as well, which we'll show here in a little bit when we get further in this dungeon. As you guys can see here, there's another elite. This one wasn't even an animus carrier, just a random elite right here. So we've already got 3 elites, and we're just at the very beginning of this dungeon. So as you guys can see, this one definitely has a high count of elites, and we have an animus carrier right over here. So that is 4 elites within the first couple of minutes of this dungeon, and that's what you want to be on the lookout for. You want to be on the lookout for highly compact corridors if you're like a melee focused build, like a Druid, a Barbarian, even a Rogue if you're doing like a melee focused Rogue. That's what you want to be on the lookout for. If you're a caster, you might want to be on the lookout for something that has a little bit of wider corridors. But I would say a Sorceress, even a Necromancer. I leveled in this dungeon with a Necromancer, no problems. It's really potent because you can use Corpse Explosion and you can just blast through those trash mobs easily. And another thing I like about this dungeon in specific, but it's not only this dungeon, it's a lot of other dungeons that have this as well, is they'll have respondent chests. And I think I would say about 50% of the time when I take on open one of those respondent chests, I'll either get a cursed chest spawn, which in turn gives me more elites, or what I'll get instead of the cursed chest is I'll get a respondent guardian, which is just 1 elite. So I'd say if you're be on the lookout for those respondent chests, because, and not even just the respondent chests, but sometimes the shrines and the pylons, like the health shrines and stuff like that. You get a cursed shrine event, you get a cursed pylon event as well. So just those things are what you want to be on the lookout for when you're playing your dungeons. You want to be opening up every single chest, even if it's just a simple gray chest. You want to open that bad boy up, because sometimes when you're running through these dungeons, you'll just see like a random little gray chest, and you open it, you'll get swarmed by like 2 or 3 elites, which is it's not like an event like a cursed shrine event or something like that, or a cursed chest event. It's just a random spawn in of elites there. So you want to be on the lookout for that. But definitely check out the dungeons that have these animus carriers. As you guys can see, we're almost at level 31, but when we started this video, we were halfway through level 30, and right after we kill this elite, we should be right there at level 31. Yep, see level 31 right there. So as you guys can see, this is very easy, leveling. And look at that layout for this dungeon. As you guys can see, there was like 1 elite right here, 1 elite right here, 1 elite right there. So they're all within, a very close distance. And that really plays a role in, especially if you're doing the same dungeon on repeat, over and over again. They are randomized every single time, so you won't get the same layout every time you do the dungeon, but they're all going to be around the same size. They don't really change in size, they just change in layout. So that's another thing I like about this dungeon, Dead Man's Dredge, is it just every time I do this dungeon, I get, you know, good elite spawns, good mobs, and sometimes you'll get this right here in the middle phase of the dungeon where you're tasked, you know, with taking out these guys in this little middle area where the barrier's up and you can't really leave. But this is actually good because I would say 1 of every 3 times you do this, you're gonna get one where you get like 4 or 5 elites just spawn in this tiny little room. And you can knock them out really easily with like pretty much, you know, any AoE skill will just take them all out. So that is a really good thing you should be on the lookout for. That's why a lot of these videos on YouTube, they'll tell you to do the first half of the dungeon then leave, but just doing that middle part right there for that middle phase of the dungeon, we got like 4,000 XP for just, you know, that took us like 2 or 3 minutes to complete that little middle phase there. So I would definitely recommend, you know, doing the 100% clears of the dungeons. You don't want to leave because the developers are, you know, they know what we're up to. They know our tricks. So what they did is they ended up putting a bunch of elite packs and like cursed chest stuff like that, you know, all the events and stuff towards the second half of the dungeon. So the players that are, what they're doing is they're leaving at the after the first half of the dungeon, and then they're missing out on major XP gains because the second half of the dungeon, at least in this case, from this dungeon and the other ones that I played, you get a lot of bonus experience for just finishing out the entire dungeon in its entirety, you know. So you can honestly just run past all of these trash mobs. See right here, we got this guy. We're gonna help him out. This dude's gonna spawn in 3 elites right here. So you know, we got 1 right off the bat when we got into the second half, and here we go. We got 3 elites right here. So that's pretty awesome, you know. So just be on the lookout for dungeons that look like this. Animus carrier dungeons I'd highly recommend because they just, you know, they have a bunch of elites, and that's the name of the game here when you're running dungeons, is you want to find the ones that have the most elites, and that's kind of what we're after here in this video, is showcasing just how potent, even after the nerfs to regular dungeons, some of these dungeons that you can find can be very nice for leveling. So I hope y'all enjoyed, man. We are gonna kind of let this rest of this video, just let the rest of the dungeon play out so you guys can kind of see how nice this Dead Man's Dredge dungeon really is. But I'm gonna cut the commentary here and let you guys enjoy the rest of the gameplay, man. Thank you all for watching. If you found this video at all insightful or helpful or, you know, informative, go ahead and let me know by dropping a comment or dropping a like on the video. That'd be greatly appreciated. With that, man, thank you all for watching. I really hope to catch you all in a future video coming out soon. Stay safe, stay happy, and last but not least, stay gaming. Lion Gaming Crew, signing out.